What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Game Show Invitational. We have another best of three incoming between Vega Squadron and Next.KZ. A little late, perhaps, but better late than never. I'm Mikelorus, one of your casters for today. More Rage Please should be on a working call right now. Is it working?
Yes, sir.
There we
Looking forward
go.
to this one. Pretty one-sided affair, it seems we have in front of us. Vega, definitely considered a tier 1.5, if not a tier 1 team. So Next.KZ have a tall order to fulfill, especially considering that they didn't even make it through the group stage. Basically unknown disbanding is what put them through to this position.
Yeah, it is worth noting, however, that this is the lower bracket, so losing means you're out. Vega got here, I'm going to say, because of DDoSing. Like, they were looking pretty good to take their series over 4 Clovers, but then just a whole shit show of internet things happened, so that wasn't good. Right now, Vega, the winner of this, goes on to face Power Rangers, and interestingly enough, Vega have King R on their team, who's part of Power Rangers, so I guess that's what you call conflict of interest.
There's a mole afoot in this game, but we'll see if King R helps them through. Definitely would want to see a little bit of heftier competition for sure. PR looking pretty decent lately after the roster shuffle. Not quite as strong as I feel that they once were, but either way, definitely will be a good matchup, whoever makes it through here. Interestingly enough, Vega going to open up with the Tusk on top of the cop.
Alright, so definitely an interesting start, definitely an aggressively slanted start for the Vega Squadron, and honestly, if you would expect anything else, well, you shouldn't, because this is how Vega like to roll next. Gonna grab Winter Wyvern as their first pick, Lion as a response to the Queen of Pain. Now that one's completely understandable. I like Winter Wyvern, but I generally think that if you're gonna pick her up, you should pick her up a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely so. I feel like it's more of a situational pick. There's already a lot of magical damage and some pure damage coming out from the Queen of Pain and the Tusk, so I don't know how effective Cold Embrace will be here. The Winter's Curse is always an excellent ultimate, especially against a hero like the Queen of Pain that does rely on her mobility, but still, as you mentioned, picking up the support duo this early on does kind of take away a little bit of the variability of their draft hereafter, and definitely can help Vega to pick against the Wyvern to look a little bit better.
Yeah, of course, more magic damage is going to be better for Vega Squadron right now. The bans are looking, for the most part, pretty normal. The real lack of hero ban is the IO, who is still in here. I guess it's definitely too late for Next.KZ to pick that one up. For Vega, I suppose it's not too late to go into an IO-type draft, but I don't really know if you want to be picking IO into Winter Wyvern. That seems potentially too dangerous.
Yeah, it's really risky up against the Curse, and also generally you pair right clickers with the IO, so you don't want too much right click on your team up against a Wyvern. If you get that Curse off, bring down your teammate pretty quickly, but if you're relying mostly on burst damage, then you won't do too much damage to your teammate under that Curse. So interesting to see how Vega drafts it here after. We're going to see Next.KZ pick up the DS here, so they do have the potential for some serious disable and really hefty team fights.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of AoE right now. They have a good amount of control, especially, but right now they just need some sort of payoff hero. Like, Darkseer, as an AoE team fighter, is not exactly going to be doing all the damage. He is more so in the utility, and the damage is mixed in there occasionally when the illusion gets to a higher level, when the enemies get really strong. But right now, Next.KZ, they're just looking for a payoff hero. Now is about where they would love to have picked up a Gyrocopter just for a call down, or any sort of AoE damage. A Queen of Pain in their draft would be insane, but they're pretty well set up for this AoE style, whereas for Vega, they're going to, what looks like, focus on just single target picks and maybe trying to mix in a little bit of push there as well.
Yeah, Wyvern and Lion not the strongest early laners, I want to say. I mean, Lion contributes certainly a lot to a tri-lane, but before that Splinter Blast gets up in levels and before the Cold Embrace is there, Wyvern is not the strongest laner. I wouldn't be surprised to see Vega go for a solo safe up against this DS and maybe pick up that aggro try with that Tusk there. They also have the mobility of the Queen of Pain around the map, so maybe they pick up something like a Prophet and look to contribute him into early engagements. We've seen in this patch really how influential the early game is over the rest of the game. So I don't think, as one-sided as this matchup is, it's completely impossible for Next.KZ to win, but they're going to have to do very well in that early game, and so we'll see where they end up placing the Darkseer.
Well, it's going to be an Earthshaker first for the Vega Squadron, so going to be probably one of their support heroes. I don't expect him to get core amounts of farm. I don't think I've seen Mag play an Earthshaker before. He it almost seems like he almost exclusively plays the Clockwork, and that is still available, and it looks like it's actually pretty good here if they want to grab that. Maybe a little bit worse now with the Puck, but Next.KZ, that's another one of those payoff heroes. You set up with the Winter Wyvern and the Darkseer, and you actually have Puck to do some damage over the top of that. Vegas Squadron are going to grab a Disruptor, so Tusk, Earthtaker, Disruptor, usually these three heroes are played in some lighter support roles. One of these heroes is going to get some farm, though.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see which one they opt to put in that role. As you mentioned, the Earthshaker not the most attractive in this case, considering the Cold Embrace is available to that Radiant side, so a lot of his physical damage can be denied if the Wyvern is positioned well. So I would expect it to be the Tusk here, his ult not necessarily being a physical damage, kind of just an addition to his base damage there. So it'll be interesting to see what they put in. I definitely don't expect the Disruptor to be the one in the core role, but it's actually a very nice pickup here, and it's still pretty good versus the Anti-Mage, so interesting to see Next.KZ pick that up into the Disruptor.
Well, I like the Anti-Mage here, even though going up against Disruptor is pretty inconvenient for the Anti-Mage. It's not like the Static Storm is going to be doing a lot of damage, and the physical damage from Vega Squadron right now, not that high. It's primarily in the magic damage where they're going to be getting those kills, so Anti-Mage's Spell Shield is going to be at a premium there. And again, Vega Squadron, they have two melee heroes already, so Battle Fury and even the splash damage of his ultimate is going to be perhaps a little bit more relevant than usual. So Vega Squadron are up against quite the AoE team. Anti-Mage is, I guess, doesn't have the biggest payoff in the AoE ultimates, but hey, if you have a vacuum into a Mana Void, yeah, you can get some kills.
Yeah, and it's a pretty damn big radius on the Void as well. It also makes the Manta pretty attractive up against the Queen of Pain and maybe deters the Queen of Pain from going that route in terms of her item build. Orchid, very nice, pretty much against every hero on Next.KZ, but perhaps she goes for something like an early Aghanims with that Manta style. Definitely soon to come out at some point for the Anti-Mage. Earthshaker right now not looking as attractive as he usually is up against a bunch of lineups. Only really the Manta illusions are going to be the additions in terms of units to Next.KZ. So we'll see how he fares there. They are going to round it out with the BS, though. All
right, this is not a super common hero, but Bloodseeker is actually really good versus both the Darkseer and the Anti-Mage, because if you blink, you're pretty much going to kill yourself, and Surge gets really bad when you are ruptured. So I actually like this Bloodseeker pick quite a bit. The AoE silence is going to be similar to that Orchid. Maybe Anti-Mage is going to get that Mana style, and eventually the silence is not going to do its job. But man, Next.KZ, they're so reliant on their skills, everyone bar that Anti-Mage, that if they get stuck in that silence circle, if there's any sort of follow-up from Vega, then that could be a couple of easy kills. Plus, Next.KZ inherently are just really soft.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of ways to keep you in the blood, right? With the shards, the snowball, the fissure from range, and even the glimpse back. So as you mentioned, I mean, silence is going to be absolutely pivotal to Vega's ability to take these engagements. If they can silence even one of the Puck, the Lion, the Wyvern, or the Darkseer, that's going to bode very well for them in these team fights. So it is an odd pick, but certainly one that has a lot of merit here.
All right, so we are going to get into the first game, guys. This is best of 3, so first game going to set the pace, of course, but loser is eliminated, so it's definitely not where you want to be. And going to cross my fingers this game that we have no internet issues, have freaking like PTSD flashbacks of DDoSing from Vega. Wasn't handled well at all.
A little bit sketchy here. Hopefully, at least, if nothing else, management from either side deals a little bit better with it, and we are able to get underway. They're able to protect their players. But as is pretty common, we're going to have a pause right as we jump into this one, but hopefully we can get some good action underway. Who do you favor in this early game? It seems like Vega has a lot more of an aggressive lineup, but defensive capabilities are pretty good for Next.KZ.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the heroes right now, it is going to be like level 4, level 5 where Vega can really start to go off. Bloodseeker hits a pretty early action point. Like, he could get going very, very early on, especially if he does have help from a Tusk and a Disruptor. So, you know, that's all well and good. Whereas you compare that to a Winter Wyvern, the hero is more of a mid-late game support hero, I think. Like, that's really where she shines. Early on, kind of underwhelming, so I'm thinking that Vega have a slight early game advantage right now that can grow depending on how just sheerly aggressive they are. Yeah,
they are going to have to overlap their control very well if they want to get this anti-mage, but Earthshaker in the lane is not the most common configuration. We usually will see him roam around, but with a Tusk there available to him as well as the Disruptor, they definitely have some kill potential if they opt for that aggro try, and it looks like it will be, for now at least, that solo safe lane Bloodseeker.
And that Bloodseeker is going to be played by Tule Memes, which is Pasha Bashu. King R standing in from Power Rangers, going to be on the Disruptor. We got no one on the Queen of Pain. Mag is going to be handling the Earthshaker, and Solo, boots first on the Tusk, is looking to like beat some people down. I don't know where he's going.
He is going to run into top or here. He's going to be picking up that one position Anti-Mage. Already skilled Blink. I'm feeling a little bit worried in this bot lane all by his lonesome. Over towards the mid lane, we got David on the Winter Wyvern. That's going to leave Ahmed on the puck. And that'll be Sumaru on the line. And finally, Tomash on the off lane Darkseer.
Looks like it's going to be Bounty Rune for Bounty Rune. Anti-Mage almost pulling an EE there and trying to snag that Bounty Rune away. Didn't get it, unfortunately. It's going to be Queen of Pain and Puck. And, well, Queen of Pain versus Puck matchup, I actually haven't seen this one in a long time just because they haven't really been picked together. But the Puck, depending on how well the Queen of Pain is able to mind game, should be just fine because the Puck, unlike other heroes, can actually dodge Queen of Pain's damage, and especially if they get this Courier snipe. David is in a good position right now. The Courier is going to make his delivery, but no, he's spotted.
Yeah, he's going to get spotted out there by Mag and will be zoned away. Even having the Arctic Burn, Earthshaker doing a decent amount towards this Wyvern, and he's going to zone him back towards that defensive tri-lane, center around the Anti-Mage. Solo going to be solo, just that, over in the off lane on the Tusk for now. He will be accompanied by Mag, but as we mentioned earlier, Mag probably a little more likely to continue to roam around.
It is worth noting that usually it's going to be Solo playing the Shaker and Mag playing the offlaner. Maybe it's going to be, them juggling between who gets the farm. The Tusk doesn't need a ton of farm to really be effective, really just a couple of experience points and you're good to go. So I like this decision of maybe even temporarily just putting this Tusk solo on the bottom lane, trying to get him solo levels of experience. And with the Lion and the Winter Wyvern being occupied by that Earthshaker, then Solo really doesn't have much to worry about up against an Anti-Mage.
Yeah, they do have the Lion rotating in. He doesn't have Snowball quite yet, but should be able to pick it up in a creep kill here. So should be just fine in terms of surviving in this lane. And as you mentioned, he's going to soak up some solo XP and look to do some work pretty soon. Creep cutting by Mag mid lane is just going to be temporary as he walks around towards that top lane.
I have no idea why he did that. He just showed himself off, walked right through the creep wave, no big deal. But he is looking to perhaps set up for some harassment damage onto this Puck right now. Again, you kind of have to work around the phase shift, but what he really wants is this bottle, which currently Puck is not actually too close to. Both sides are relatively even as far as the bottle race is concerned, but down towards bottom, Snowball onto Topar. Solo's already taking a beating right now. Lion's hit, not going to do it. Now taking tower aggro. Sumaru will have to back off, will be fine, but man, this Tusk is playing things a little bit dangerously.
Yeah, feeling a little overconfident perhaps with that Snowball. Doesn't have a salve, unfortunately. Does have a couple of tangos to help him regen, and he will get a decent-sized wave under the tower fairly soon. So does want to stick around in lane here. Needs to be a little bit careful, though. Even just a couple right clicks from that Arctic Burn and a blink in from the Anti-Mage, and he can definitely go down, considering how low his mana is. Mid lane, Scream of Pain going to be dodged by Ahmed. The Shadow Strike will be there with the Fisher as well, but the Queen Lane actually going to blink out to the north, a little bit scared. Perhaps a bit of miscommunication from Vega. They could have brought the puck a little bit lower there.
Yeah, they maybe even could have gotten a kill, but Solo didn't really see everyone on the bottom lane involved in the bottom lane, so Lion could have been coming in. Up towards top, Pasha Bashu has been receiving a completely free time, slightly outlasting the Anti-Mage. Not a terribly huge deal in the grand scheme of things there, but over towards mid, they're going to jump right in again for this Puck. Again, you can't juke when you have that thirst on you, but seems like the Puck will once again slip away. The Queen of Pain is starting to exert her lane dominance, and this is even working through this phase shift and orb combo, which usually keeps the Puck pretty safe.
Yeah, it seems like Vega have made a really good laning decision thus far.
Especially this one, man.
Dive pretty deep.
Surge, not going to do it. Pasha Bashu chases him down with 2 points in the thirst. Arctic Burn is there, but only level 1 Arctic Burn and doesn't actually do that much except for marginal amounts of slow. Pasha Bashu is home free, and man, Darkseer holding on to Surge for a very long time. Usually it's going to keep you safe versus Bloodseekers until level 6.
Yeah, it's really not expecting that kill top lane, but it's a great one for BS. It will give the Anti-Mage a little bit of time to pass him in farm for topper, but definitely worth the dive there and gives Disruptor some space in lane. It seems like all the heroes from Vega have found more space than they've needed, and even the Earthshaker going to hit that level 2 pretty soon, but he is definitely a sacrifice that Vega are willing to take early on here. Does get a glancing shot at the Courier, but it's going to be able to speed away from him. He's going to wrap around on the Puck. Just going to do some harassment on Ahmed and take some of his own, but already secured a pretty good mid lane for this Queen of Pain.
Queen of Pain's outlast hitting the Puck by quite a margin, and we did see a rotation in from David, as well as Sumaru over towards mid, albeit temporarily. killing off the Queen of Pain right now is certainly very possible should they connect some skills. Killing off Solo also very possible. One more Arctic Burn shot. Anti-Mage has a blink in 7 seconds. How sick is Solo's juking? Is it going to be needed at all? No, Topher has to call it quits right now. Solo, once again, is going to barely escape that bottom lane with pretty much no health, no mana. And he's actually going to have a bottle to drink. Is this his bottle? Yeah, it is. So this is just a full off-lane Tusk. He's level 4, and once he hits level 6, these supports from Next.KZ have to be very careful.
Yeah, and the move speed advantage was to the Anti-Mage there, so interesting. Mid lane, though, they are going to get the Waning Rift. Oh, actually, the Sonic Wave going to land after the John. Very nicely played there by no one. They will find the kill on the puck. 2-0 is your score for Vega. No movements aggressively elsewhere in response from Next.KZ.
Nice read by no one, of course, tagging that puck with the Sonic Wave. I thought that had a pretty high chance of missing, but they've also been layering their threats very well versus this puck. Like, once they force out the phase shift, then they throw in the Fissure, then they throw in, the Shadow Strike or the Scream, either one. Queen of Pain, though, gonna get Hex spiked over in the mid lane. Silence is there, they'll chain stun her up. Just as I was praising Vega's layering, it's gonna be returned in par by Next.KZ, so, even situations over in mid, down towards bottom lane. Solo is still in a rough time, but he's at 17 CS right now, and Winter Wyvern can't really zone out a Tusk super effectively.
Yeah, he's going to pick up his Walrus Punch fairly soon here as well. With the line rotating out of lane, allowed him to stand up near that wave and is almost going to eclipse that level 6 mark. We see the Queen of Pain mid only go for that 1 point in Shadow Strike. Definitely the right build up against the puck. She was able to use it, as you mentioned, to bait out that phase shift, but does feed over a death closely thereafter of her own. And it's a big one going the way of the puck in the line, about 300 XP to both of them, but no near item progression for either of the mid laners after picking up their bottles here. Mid lane, though, they are going to jump in once again on the puck. They will get the Shadow Strike off. He'll be able to back off to the south, though, and we will see Sumaru run into Solo up in the jungle, and he's got support coming his way, but the shards are going to catch him. The Cold Embrace will be there from the Wyvern. Solo sticking around, though, and no immediate rotation from the rest of Next.KZ. You mentioned it. As he gets up in levels, these supports are going to be in a lot of trouble. Sumaru has no mana, and I'm sure he's well aware of that. Walrus Punch will be there to finish him off, and David going to be able to TP out. Mid lane, though, however, they're going to take down the puck as well. And all across the map, things going very well for Vega. 4-1 is your score, 6.5 minutes in.
That was very close to being even worse there, as Winter Wyvern just got out with the TP before the Fissure actually hit the ground, so it could have even been a 3-0 in the grand scheme of things. This is Tusk just exerting his pressure all across the map on these supports, and they do have a lot of control, these supports. Arctic Burn, Splinter Blast is actually really useless up against this hero in that situation. Up towards top, though, it's going to be Pashabashu diving deep for Tomash. Ahmed's going to get sent right back to whence he came. I don't know where that is, but I don't know if it matters. Tomash can't really run anywhere, although Pasha is taking tower shots. He will slip away, and Sumeru is going to arrive. King R does not have enough damage to actually kill off this Darkseer. They do have full vision of him. They get the Hex onto King R right now, spike him up as well. And it looks like this Disruptor, he's going to drop very low. It looks like he will get out to TP. In the meantime, bottom lane, David is going to be forced to embrace himself, but I don't know if that's actually going to help. Queen of Pain doesn't actually have that much mana. Splinter Blast to farm or something, and he is going to go down. Pashabashu, in the meantime, getting into a fight versus Ahmed. Fight up towards top, still not done yet. Spike does miss, and Pasha is out free and clear. The coil just fading, so it is just the kill on the Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, pretty big misplay from Ahmed there. The Thirst being on the Bloodseeker definitely was a little bit hard to hit, but he got the coil off in like 300 unit range and missed the orb. Nicely dodged to the south by the Bloodseeker. Then he gets the blood right off, so no Waning Rift there for the puck. And as you saw, dodging that Earth Spike, keeping himself safe. So Pashabashu really playing on the edge, but able to survive here. And the Ion Shell, though, keeping Tomash up underneath that tower. Snowball bot lane, though, they are going to find Sumaru. He does have the spike available, but they're going to layer their CCs perfectly on this Lion. And another kill going the way of that Tusk Earthshaker duo. Solo going to rotate back down to bot lane, sitting on his level 7 ahead of that safe lane anti-mage.
And they annihilated that Lion. They didn't even use Ice Shards there. They're going to go straight towards the bottom lane, killing off Topher next to impossible. But David is in a really bad position right now. Fly away, David. He's caught by the Ice Shards. Of course, he'll just fly right over that. And if he's caught by a Fissure, well, he can't fly over that one. Mag is going to cut him off. Fissure in 2 mana. But there's actually no one coming around to help. No one's here to help out. There's the Fissure. There's the Scream. Right click. Can't even get that Embrace off. Winter Wyvern also picked off 1-8 right now in favor of Vega Squadron. This is looking already really bad for Next.KZ. I didn't expect Vega's early game to go this well.
Yeah, the rotations have been just perfect from Vega. And as you mentioned, no one coming from Next.KZ to help and no one coming from Vega to finish off the kill there on the Wyvern. And things are looking really grim thus far. Even the Anti-Mage not farming nearly as well as Pache Bashu's Bloodseeker, who's been able to retreat to the jungle and has been involved in a kill here. So looking very good with Treads and the Ogre Club picked up early. You expect this to be an SNY or is it an early BKB for the Bloodseeker?
I mean, BKB is definitely a good item up against what Next.KZ have right now, but I would expect Pasha to go for the S and Y. I feel like if you're this far ahead, you could afford to go for another offensive item, try to get more far ahead. And well, BKB is kind of more all-in than the Sanjin Yasha. You typically want to keep that as high duration as you possibly can. So I'm liking the SNY slightly better for Pasha right now. But it's, I'd say, debatable. Solo's going to find Sumeru, gets jumped on by Topar. David's here as well with Cold Embrace. Snowball to Topar as Solo tries to make his escape. Phase Boots, nice, but he has a lot of healing with the urn and the bottle, but I don't think he's going to get out of here. Although, no, Pasha Bashu's coming in. Rupture onto Topar right now. Fissure onto 2 from the side. Sumeru's going to help disengage on Mag, but Topar blinks after being ruptured. He's going to get cursed up, survive for a little while longer, glimpse back. And that's going to bleed him out again. It's a double kill for Pache. He's now chasing down for David. And it looks like he will get that kill as well. It's a triple for Pache. It did not even cross my mind that you could glimpse people and make them bleed. And over towards mid. Are you kidding me? Queen of Pain gets a solo kill on Puck? And that one shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, Sonic Wave there. Scream of Pain hits. He doesn't even throw down the Shadow Strike. And the phase shift was expended, and then coming out of the phase shift, just a dead Puck there. So a little bit of a mismanagement of skills from Ahmed there. Well played by no one, and it's just an absolute stomp across the map right now. You take a look at the metrics, 7,500 net worth lead in Vega's favor. Just under that in XP as well. Only about 10 minutes into this one.
They're going to go in for Tomash. He's going to surge himself, but he gets punched up in the air and now stuck in the Static Storm. He's going to burn. Sumeru is also going to arrive, however, instantly silenced and then glimpsed back before he can get the Hex off. David's going to arrive, but David can't do anything to help out. It's going to be a free kill for Vega. It's also worth noting that Next.KZ had stacked up their jungle pretty darn high. I didn't get a good look at who was able to clear out the hard camp, but Vega, they did have full vision of that. I can only assume that Vega got a little bit of that experience in gold, maybe even the whole thing.
Yeah, it is going to be an early BKB for Pache. I would have agreed with you, would have liked the SMY a little better. It does allow him to scale a little bit more into the late game, having that BKB picked up a little later. But it will allow him to run around free in these engagements and do a lot of work as he has been doing. It looks like we are going to see Next.KZ ball up towards this mid lane. There is going to be a Hex onto Mag, but the glimpse is going to bring Sumaru back into his own death. Kinetic Field will be there, not even a lot expended. The Rupture is out onto David. Bloodright going to land onto 2 here. And the snowball through is going to bring down the Darks here after the Wyvern falls to that Scream. And dominating streak going the way of Solo. They're going to jump even further, but the Surge out will keep Tomash back. This will be a tier 1. Definitely going down in the Dire's favor here, though. And the Courier is going to be chased down towards that shop, but we'll be able to make it out to the north towards this Anti-Mage, who is still very far off of that Battle Fury 12 minutes in.
And that was pretty much perfect coordination there from Vega. There's a point in that fight where they were just standing off from each other. I thought that Vega were not going to continue on with, oh, Courier, no. This is just like the worst right now. Queen of Pain, 3 shots to the Courier. At least it got its delivery off before it actually died, but Vega's coordination, they held on to all their CC. Now they're going to go in again for the mid lane. They catch Ahmed with the snowball. Bloodright will kill off the Puck. And the supports can do nothing to help out. Sonic Wave over the top. Blink in. Sonic Wave's kill off the line. Fissure going to kill off David. Now Tomash is going to bleed out to the Rupture. It's a feeding frenzy in this mid lane. As again, Vega with the coordination. They're just catching Next.KZ off guards. Bloodright into Fissure, and that is usually just good enough. Topar in the meantime up towards top lane to get glimpsed right back. Snowball making a complete 180, but they now have Topar stuck in the Static Storm. Walrus Punch, Ice Shards. It's a full team wipe. Maybe a little bit delayed, but it's good enough. 1-21, and Vega are just stomping this game. This is getting very out of control for Next.KZ very quickly.
Yeah, and the full Aghanims comes out for no one as well on the Queen of Pain. So those 3-man Sonic Waves are going to be even scarier and coming out even more frequently here. Mag, look at Mag. He's a level 6 Earthshaker this deep onto the Radiant side of the map. Tells you the state of the game. He's going to catch a Fissure out onto Sumaru. Shadow Strike will be there. Cold Embrace keeping him up for now. Don't know if the Dire want to stick around this long. The Earth Spike will be there into no one. He's going to jump forward, find the Scream of Pain, and David trying to fly away under the Arctic Burn. The Coil will be there onto no one. He has his Blink away. He's going to go for the kill on the Wyvern, though. Bloodright will be there. He'll be saved by the Snowball for the time being. They're going to drop it onto the Darkseer as well with the Thunderstrike. They'll bring him down under the Rupture. Ern going to keep the Queen of Pain safe. Echo Slam onto Tomash. He'll be punched up in the air under the wall, and GG is called. 14 minutes in, 25 kills for Vega in this game 1 of our best of 3.
We waited 20 minutes for this game to start, dude. There was actually more time waiting for this game than it was actually played. That was just an absolute train wreck. I don't even know. That was like Mercy Rule or something. There's only so much you can say whenever a game goes this off the rails that quickly. Vega played everything pretty much to perfection, and Next.KZ supports were not there at any point to really help out.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's going to put the end of Game 1 in the books, and, well, hopefully Game 2 is a little bit closer. I don't know. 14 minutes is pretty convincing. I'm Mikelorus. I'm joined by more Rage, please, and we'll be right back for Game 2 between Vega Squadron and Next.KZ.